Do you remember what I told you about the hierarchy of etiquette? About the lady taking the initiative to shake hands? Well, here again, introducing somebody has those same rules. The man would be presented to the lady, the younger would be presented to the older, and the lower in rank would be presented to the higher in rank. It's that simple. Another few tips on introductions, whether it be social or business, is speak clearly. If you have a difficult name, you really have to speak up clearly. You also have to speak loud enough so people really understand your name. If you are at the receiving end and you didn't get the name, you can ask again. You could say, "I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Could you repeat your name?" Because it's much more embarrassing to do as if you didn't hear it and you didn't get it than to have to ask it again. When you introduce someone else to another person, make sure that you don't create a conflict. This could also be based on the topics they would talk about. Let's say you have two politicians and they're from different parties. Be very careful and make sure that you have done your homework up front. And when you introduce somebody to somebody else, always give extra information, because that will start the conversation. I could say, for example, "Mrs. Smith, allow me to introduce Mr. Lee. He just came from the airport." And she could pick up on the information of coming from the airport. And that is how you are a great host, whether it be social or, for example, in a business situation such as a networking event. If you are introduced to somebody, always answer. I mean by that, if I would say, "Mrs. Smith, allow me to introduce Mr. Lee," she would say, "How do you do?" and he would say, "How do you do?" as well. So always answer, that's the most polite thing to do. And again, that is what gets conversations starting. If you have to introduce somebody to royalty, you usually would use the word present. You would say, for example, "Your Majesty, may I present Mr. Smith? May I introduce Mr. Smith?" So make sure that you use these wordings in a correct way. If you're introducing a single person to a group, that's exactly how you should do it. Introduce the single person to the group, not the other way around. I would say, for example, "Mrs. Smith, this is my team I work with every day." And then it's up to her to introduce herself. And then conversations start running. In some occasions, you will stand while you are sitting. For example, when you're in church, there are certain moments where you will stand up. Another moment where you stand up is, for example, in court, or when there is 1 minute of silence. Another thing could also be during the national anthem. A bit of a lost art is gentlemen standing up for ladies, because when a lady joins the table, a gentleman should actually stand up. When she leaves, he should do the same. So sitting and standing is a bit of a lost art, so make sure that you actually do it.